Hey everybody, welcome to Strumming with Christopher. My name is Christopher Gallegos, librarian for the Gonzales Branch, Monterey County Free Libraries, and thank you all so much for coming to another episode. So, the past couple episodes I talked about tuning your guitar. Remember E, A, D, G, B, E, glass shattering. And I talked to you about an E minor chord, talked to you about a G chord, and talked to you about a D chord. And I wanted to talk today about strumming. So strumming, well, what is strumming? Well, obviously, we now know how to tune our guitar up to where it sounds nice and crisp, right? And we know a couple of chord shapes. But the one thing I haven't talked about yet is what your right hand is supposed to be doing. So something that dawned on me after watching people learning guitar for years was that, and this happened to me too when I was starting out, you tend to want to get really, really fancy with what your left hand is doing. You want to learn all these crazy shapes, and you want to be doing all these solos and all this, and you get really excited when your left hand looks flashy, but it takes years and years to get to the point where you realize the subtle role that your right hand has in all this. Now, since we're just starting out, this is not going to get complicated, but it's just going to be a basic primer on the whole idea of your right hand as something that keeps the rhythm. So once you're learning these shapes, if you recall last time I was talking about just spending some time practicing with these chord shapes, the E minor, the G, and the D, and just practicing and trying to see if you can get these shapes, you can transition from shape to shape. But I didn't talk about what's happening with the other hand. Almost every instrument you play, there's a couple things going on. With drums, you have a hi-hat, and you have a snare, and you have the bass drum going. You have three things going. Piano, you have one hand doing melodies, one hand doing chords. So when we're learning guitar, we're learning basic chords. A mistake a lot of beginners make is that they tend to have this really dead strum thing going on with their right hand. And by dead strum, I mean they're just kind of moving their whole arm really, really awkwardly. Just no rhythm whatsoever. And it makes sense. I mean, you might learn the chord and you might be doing something like this. You have your E minor chord, for example, and you're just going, you know, you're moving your arm around. So a very basic idea of where to start. And we'll get more into this in future episodes. As you're learning your chord shapes, it's one thing to have this, have your shapes, right? But you also want to get to the point where your right hand, you're starting to work on loosening it up. Okay, so I'm going to go through two very, very basic concepts as far as what your right hand should be doing. Okay, so first of all, you don't have to use a pick. A pick makes everything sound a lot clearer. You can get a lot more precision, but it also sounds nice to just kind of, like I said, remember last time, pinch your fingers together like you're pinching a potato chip. You can also do three fingers. Whatever works for you. Really, it's a matter of your own comfort. The basic things are the same here. Pick versus no pick, there's really no question. It's more about your wrist, okay? So one thing I want you to do is kind of bring your right arm in front of you and just kind of see if you can kind of bring your wrist up a little bit to where it's just hanging loose. Think about it being like a V, like a letter V maybe. Very, very loose. And don't think about using your whole arm as if you're doing some kind of rock god strum or something. Think about very, very loosely, almost like with a frisbee, like a little snap. Think about having your wrist loose. And what I want you to do, as a very basic strumming pattern, I want you to start out thinking about 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the majority of Western music, the backbone of Western music as far as rhythm is a 4/4 beat. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I want you to try out, whether you have just your kind of your pseudo pick or your real pick in your hand, I want you to think about doing a down strum. So just strumming downwards, but don't use your whole arm if you can avoid it. Remember, kind of have your wrist up and just let it hang loose. Then kind of bring it toward the front of the guitar and just think about doing a very, very, start slow at first, a down strum, counting to 4. You don't have to always count, but it's helpful at first, so I'll go with you. So I'm going to make an E minor chord like we learned in the first two videos. And I'm going to just have you count to 4 very slowly while strumming downwards. try to strum right around the sound hole, or if you have an electric guitar, around the little pickups, which are the little things that make the sound. You'll see what I mean if you have an electric. Okay, and just say E minor chord for our demonstration. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very loose. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So what you can do is work with that down strum, and you can count to 4, and you can start slow, and then you can start to speed up. And that's going to kind of just loosen up your wrist. It's an exercise, but it also works as a preliminary strumming pattern, okay? So let's try that again. E minor chord. We'll try a G chord this time. The chord you have doesn't matter for the purposes of this video. It's just really to get your right hand loose. You can even have it open, but it won't sound great. It's nicer if you're strumming a G or an E minor for this, okay? And just go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 with a pick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Loose wrist. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Okay. And then once that starts getting comfortable to you, you can start something a little different. And we're going to add 2 upstrokes in here. Okay? So meaning that instead of just going down with our wrist, we're going to go up. Okay, so we're going to kind of do this in a, think of the rhythm, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and so what we're going to do is we're going to go down on the 1, up on the 2, down on the 3, and up on the 4. So I'll show you what I mean. Again, E minor chord right here, loose wrist, whether you have a pseudo pick or your real pick. Okay, I like pseudo pick myself because these strings are soft. We're going to say, remember, 1 down, 2 up, 3 down, 4, okay? So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Speed it up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So what you end up doing is you have an exercise where you can kind of build speed. And this is also to give you an idea to start tying your right hand into these chords that you're learning, okay? So that's just a very, very, very basic idea of 2 things you can do as far as a strum. So we're going to do a quick review. You know, these videos are short because, you know, we don't have all day to watch some guy strumming a guitar. But also they're to be quick, you know, condensed. So 2 things. Downstrokes, counting to 4. Start out slow and you can build your speed, okay? We're using an E minor chord for this, right? And we'll say 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Loose wrist. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. And then when you speed up, 4. Work with that for a while, whether you're doing a G chord. If you're doing a D chord, remember that you only play the bottom 4 strings, okay, if you're doing a D for this practice. So kind of teaches you to not play these top 2. You kind of go down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we're going to go to the down on the 1, up on the 2, down on the 3, and up on the 4, like this. I'm going to use a pick for this just so it sounds crisp, okay? E minor chord. 1, 2, 3, 4. Loose wrist. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Loose wrist. 1, 2, 3, 4. Speed up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. I changed to a G there. You get the idea. So I don't want you to worry too much about being technically awesome on this. This is just kind of putting another piece together because it's very easy to just learn the left-hand stuff and neglect what's going on with your right hand, and you have to start building them together. That's why these lessons are bite-sized. And I know it's a lot to take in, but you can watch this over and over and over until you get sick of seeing me and my little guitar here. Hopefully that won't happen. Thank you guys for tuning in to another edition of Strumming with Christopher. I appreciate your time, and I'll see you all soon. Goodbye.